What's up everyone, Luke here with another video. In today's video we're going to be talking about why I never ever use liquidation or bulk reselling marketplaces or online websites. Let's go. Hey everybody, in today's video I want to share a personal story with you and a personal secondhand experience that I have had with some of the online known liquidators. Now there are other liquidation websites out there, maybe they work better, but I want to talk about two of them and want to talk about a personal secondhand experience. Now I say secondhand experience because it was so real and it almost felt like it was happening to me because it was somebody that I knew quite well. And I was very closely involved in the situation. I actually helped diagnose all of the phones and labeled all of them, etc., and then delivered, unfortunately, the customer the bad news. So I want to share this story with you, why I will probably personally never ever purchase from one of these websites. So, liquidation.com. For those of you that are into flipping smartphones, electronics, clothing, jewelry, computers, lighting, general merchandise, tools, etc., liquidation.com has pretty much everything you can think of. We'll just scroll down here. As you can see, I'll right click this, put it over into another tab. Right here we've got a bid. You can submit a bid for 15 Apple iPads. Now generally at face value, you look at this website, it's kind of cool. You might think maybe you can make some money. However, one of the failed systems of this website is that they require wire transfers, and the return status kind of depends on the seller. And that's where the problem is the website collects your money with a wire, and then the return has to come from the seller. Once the seller gets the money, it's pretty much done. The only recourse of action that I've seen from these websites is that they will remove the scammer, obviously, from doing business on their website, because then the scammer is basically using their website as a gateway to perform scams, which obviously, is illegal. But the biggest problem here is what happens to your money, what happens once it's all done and over with, and then the seller will not deliver any kind of product or even offer anything. Well, you lose all your money and you end up with a bunch of junk products. So at face value, this looks really good. Looks like they're coming from Miami, Florida. There's 15 Apple iPads, whatever. But you click here on the returns process. Look at all of this. Look at all this that's written here. This is not a clearly written return policy. So showing you a little bit of the website, like I said, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever buy from them, but this is why I personally will never ever buy from here, especially when it comes to electronics. Maybe buying something else would be different, or maybe buying new products would be different. But that being said, let's jump into this personal story. So there was a customer of mine that ordered over 50 iPhones from liquidation.com. And this other website that I'm looking at here, Bstock, this is a similar website, but it's a little bit more trusted. I'm not sure how their payment history works, but I did want to share Bstock with you before I get into the story quick, because Bstock, actually, I've heard good things about it. So this might be a website you want to check out. However, if they have the same refund policy and wire transfer expectations as liquidation.com, I would absolutely not buy from them. I recommend you don't buy from them. If you want to and you get burned, well, I told you so. But anyways, going back to this personal story, and why it feels so real to me is it could have been me. And, it's just sad to see a customer of mine lose all of their money. I mean, this guy lost like $6,000 and got absolutely no value, no knowledge, got nothing, got absolute just junk. So basically what happened is he went onto liquidation.com and he bought from a very, very, very untrusting seller. And apparently the seller was pretty good. I mean, they had a decent business, good reviews on this website, but all of a sudden they just started sending out bad products. But basically, he paid $6,000 for a bunch of iPhone 6s or iPhone 7s back in 2017. Now, the interesting thing about liquidation.com is pretty much anybody can come in here and sell. I mean, it's not that hard to, get on here and make a profile. But this seller basically kind of built his account up as a trustworthy account, and then he just started scamming everybody. And basically, he sold these 50, 60 iPhones and sold them for $6,000, which is around $110 a piece. That's a lot of money. And basically in his pictures, everything looked good. In his description, my customer informed me that they graded them as grade B and grade A and that they had no issues or anything. So it turns out my customer was relatively new to the phone flipping and smartphone industry, and he basically purchased this, and when the inventory got to him, it turns out that most of the phones had cracks in them. They had problems with the screens. They were aftermarket screens, and then they were also iCloud locked. And unfortunately, by the time he got the order, Liquidation.com had already gotten the wire, had already paid the seller, and then when it came time for a refund, it was SOL. Because the seller was not cooperating with Liquidation.com, and it was pretty much over at that point because Liquidation pretty much just acts as like a gateway for payments and then pays, the seller, etc., and then the seller ships the items. So it's pretty much over at this point, and the customer that I dealt with was so discouraged. This happened back in 2017. He actually completely put all the phones away, never even tried pursuing anything, and just completely forgot about it because he was so discouraged. That being said, just to pause here for a second, when there's people out there that say, you don't need a course, you don't need a mentor, you don't need this, well, guess what? It could save you thousands of dollars. It's $300 or $500 or $1,000. There's a lot of different courses out there, whether it's phone flipping, whether it's consulting, whether it's, just general business. Trust me, a course will save you money. Because I talked to this guy about it, and he's like, I wish I would have spent, even $2,000 on a course before I made a mistake like this. And, he just didn't know how to go about it. He was so discouraged, so crushed that just done. So this guy now has lost $6,000, and it's all because he bought from a bad seller on Liquidation.com. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is it's very personal. Obviously, we all flip smartphones and electronics, and to see a customer of mine lose $6,000, it was kind of heartbreaking. It felt like it was happening to me, and I felt so bad for the guy. Originally, what my job was is I was going to pick the phones up, try and unlock them, see what I could do, label them, diagnose them, and then hopefully resell them and then split the money with the seller or make him an offer based on what I could sell them for. But it turns out, the phones, they're just completely locked up. This guy literally purchased $6,000 worth of iCloud locked and part swapped phones. And I could not feel more sorry for this person. I wish I would have known him in 2017 and helped him or advised him somehow or, done some kind of recourse or consulted with him, but absolutely nothing we can really do at this point other than the fact that I've got them all labeled and, I'm going to be helping him hopefully sell them somehow or see if there's any recourse with the company. Now, the other problem is the company will not release any personal information about the seller, even the seller's contact information, such as his name and phone number, which is really odd because you can get that information even on big websites like eBay. eBay is probably bigger than Liquidation.com. In fact, I'm sure it is. And eBay, when a customer buys your items or sells to you, you can typically see their full address, their name, and sometimes even their phone number if they have that enabled. So it's very interesting that Liquidation.com would kind of just allow something like this to happen, and there really wasn't any recourse other than, the seller that was scamming people can no longer sell on their website. So that is the reason why I will never, ever buy off of Liquidation.com. And other auction websites. I'm kind of just sketched out by it. If I'm going to be sending somebody a wire for 6 to 10 to 15 to 20 grand, I need to really trust the person and I need to check things out. And there needs to be a clear outlined return policy. So yeah, it was really sad to see, and it's kind of done and over with now, but it's like, wow, it just goes to show you this industry, it's never ending. There's never ending knowledge out there. There's a never ending learning curve to it. So for anybody out there that's newer to phone flipping, I can't tell you how important it is to either watch a bunch of free YouTube videos and even after that, invest in a course, invest in mentorship, because the scams that I have seen throughout my career and just some of the personal scams that I dealt with when I was first getting started in this, I wish there was a course out there. I wish there would have been somebody like me or, even some of the other YouTubers that I could have just bought a course or just done it. Unfortunately, me and all the other YouTubers, we've all been doing this like 5 to 8 years, so we all started in similar time ranges, and there wasn't really anybody to rely on. But what happened is we just lost a lot of money. We got scammed. We learned the hard way, came up with methods, did research, paid our way up. I pay for knowledge all the time. Nothing wrong with it, but it's so important to be careful, get the right knowledge, get a course, get the mentorship, because, man, a $6,000 mistake, it's just ridiculous. And I wish there was more that I could do for the customer, but I just can't. So, and it's all because he bought off on one of these websites, and they're not very protecting of their buyers. I know a lot of us think that eBay is terrible with protecting us, which They aren't the best, I admit. eBay returns are not fun, but liquidation.com is just an absolute, I mean, it's an absolute attack on the buyer, knowing that once the money's sent and if the seller just says screw you, it's completely over. The seller didn't try and offer my customer any kind of remorse, any kind of return, any kind of help, any kind of value, nothing, just completely gone out of sight. So anyways, that being said, I hope this prevents somebody out there from getting scammed on one of these auction sites. And also another thing to watch out for is websites that claim to be liquidation sites and they're actually run overseas by somebody who populates the entire sites with fake images. You bid, you send the money, and then you never get anything. Very interesting. People are basically purchasing domain names now overseas, populating them with electronics. Boom, you bid, you pay, and then you never get anything. It's terrible. So that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I hope some of you got some value from this video, and I hope it prevents somebody from getting scammed. That being said, I will see you all in the next video.